I'm a conservation science student at the University of British Columbia located in Vancouver, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do a short video on how I propagate Scindapsus Pictus Exotica. I did want to make a full care video on it, but I don't really have a full plant to show you and to kind of prove that I know how to take care of them, so I'm going to start off with a propagation video. So the Scindapsus Pictus Exotica is native to Southeast Asia, and they are considered as a climbing plant. I actually had a small 4-inch pot of this around 4 years ago that I got from my local big box store, which was Canadian Tire, and I remember always finding them around. I know that you can find the Scindapsus Pictus Argyrius or the Scindapsus Pictus Silverian, and those are more readily available, but those guys tend to have smaller leaves, which doesn't really appeal to me in a sense. They look kind of leggy, but the Scindapsus Pictus Exotica have really big leaves. I'll kind of do a hand comparison to the size of the leaf, and they look really beautiful when they hang down from a basket and kind of fill up a shelf or an area. Although these guys can be found around my area and my big box stores such as Canadian Tire, I know that a lot of people in my houseplant community, they run towards the big box stores and kind of clear off the shelf, so by the time I finish my classes or by the time I finish walking my dog, they're all gone in a matter of 30 minutes to an hour. So the best bet I could do was find someone who had a plant and would be kind enough to give me a cutting. So I actually got this first cutting around a month and a half ago from my best friend. Her grandma actually has a full vining basket that's about, I'd say, she said it was around 10 years old, so it was a pretty old plant. And I remember going over to her house one day and her mentioning, oh look, my grandma actually has that plant that you just bought. So the plant that I initially killed because I thought it'd be easy to just replace it, but fast forward to 2 to 3 years later, they're almost impossible to find in a 4-inch pot. So I kind of begged her for this cutting, so she gave me this one, and 2 days ago we actually did a trade, so I got more cuttings, or a cutting. So this is one vine that I traded her for a little cutting of my philodendron micans, which has grown quite a bit since the summer. So I was happy to give her a little piece of my plant in exchange for more Scindapsus, because I do want to have that full basket that I have seen in most people's videos or posts on my plant group. I kind of rambled there, but if I did a video right away on how I propagate these guys, it'd probably just be under a minute, because I literally just snip and throw them in water and then wait for them to root. So I'll kind of show you a short tutorial on how I like to propagate my Scindapsus Pictus Exotica. So as you can see, this guy has been fully rooted and acclimatized to its pot. I got it as a single leaf top cutting of a vine, and it put out this new leaf right here, which is bigger than its older leaf, and I'm really happy to see that it's putting out another little runner and then a leaf followed by that. So I'm excited to see this guy vine a little more. I'm most likely going to cut it again and propagate it to have more growth points, but for now I'm just enjoying this little plant. It looks a little funky, but it's quite unique in my eyes. I have all my supplies right here. I do have some rooting hormone that I want to try out today. I did try this on my philodendron melanochrysum top cutting without a leaf, and it rooted quite quickly after I did that, so I'm going to try this out today, but you don't have to. It's completely optional. These guys take root pretty fast, so although I say try it out and recommend it in a sense, I don't really say it's needed. This guy didn't really have that rooting hormone. I just literally stuck it into water, waited for it to root, and then potted it up in a nice airy potting mixture. I also have some ground cinnamon to seal off the wounds from the cuts I make on the stem. And then I have my 2 tools, so my trusty scissors and my trusty little paintbrush that I use to kind of dust things on my plant. So let's get started, I guess. So I have my cutting right here, and I did want to mention that I have 3 to 4 nodes to work with, but I'm only going to be making 2 incisions today to make 3 plants in a sense. So each node can provide you with roots and a new shoot, so a new growth point where it will put out new leaves. and start a new stem in a sense. So I have one right there, I have another one right here, and then the last one that I will be cutting is over here. And then there's a new little node right there as well, but that would be impossible to root and make it grow a whole new plant if I just cut it right there. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep these two nodes intact with one another, and then maybe when this guy puts out a new leaf, I'll probably snip it again. So I have my sterilized scissors, and I'm just going to make an incision right in the middle of the vine. So as you can see, I'm leaving the node, and then in the middle of this little vine right here, I'm just going to cut right down there in the middle. So here's my first cutting. The last cutting I'm going to make is, again, the nodes right here. I'm going to follow along this little stem right here and then cut right at the middle. Here we go. And these are my last two cuttings that I will be propagating as well. So now that I have finished kind of butchering them, I have 3 new plants that I could start a new vine from. Personally, what I would usually do is let these callus over for around 30 minutes to an hour, but today I'm going to try using some cinnamon to speed up the process a little bit. I'm still going to leave it out to air dry and callus over, but I'll probably come back in around 15 to 20 minutes to check on it, and if it looks good and dry, then I'm just going to stick it into my water vial. So there's a fresh wound right there. I'm just going to go ahead and dab some on. So I did realize that this little stem is quite large to my liking, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it a little bit just so that I have more space in the vial that I'm going to put them in for propagation. So this actually won't hurt the propagation. But I want to tell you guys that you can't get a new plant off of a little stem without a node. So this is a node right here, and this guy, as you can see, doesn't have a node. It was just a piece from the bottom that I cut off. So this guy is practically garbage, but this guy is what you kind of want to have when you're trying to propagate plants in general. Okay, so now that I'm done sealing off the ends of my propagations, I'm just going to let them air dry for about 15 to 20 minutes, and I'll be back to dab some rooting hormone on them, and I'm just going to stick them in water, which is my preferred propagation method. So I'll see you guys back in around 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm now back. I did take more or less 1 hour to let these guys callus over. I cooked lunch and then I sat down on the couch with my dog and watched some videos on YouTube, but now I'm back to continue this propagation project. I also wanted to mention, the more time you let these guys callus over, the better. So probably don't go over like a day or so, but let it callus over, let it dry out, so that it can be more successful in the sense that bacteria won't get into the fresh wound when you put it in your potting medium or your liquid medium, which for me is water. So as you can see, these guys have calloused over. You can kind of tell by this guy right here, that one actually shriveled a little bit at the end. So that's how you can tell that it dried out, which is what we're kind of going for. So now I'm gonna go ahead and dust some rooting hormone on the nodes of these cuttings, and then I'll put them in their containers. This is what the rooting hormone looks like. It's just this pink kind of dust. I did wash my brush before I cross-contaminate the cinnamon in this mixture. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dip a little bit. Don't need that much. So I have a little bit on the edge of my brush, and then I'm gonna go ahead and dust those 2 little nubbins of a root that you can see right there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dust it. That should be good. I'm just gonna continue doing that to these other 2. So I have 2 methods I'm going to try out today. Right here is regular rainwater that I've collected over the past couple of weeks from the weather here in Vancouver. And right here I have some standing water from my aquarium that I'm propagating some of my plants in. I have a philodendron micans here. I have a little African violet cutting, and then a Scindapsus Pictus silvery Ann that's been rooting for a while. I'm gonna go ahead and put one cutting in here and two in here and see kind of if there's a difference in growth, just to experiment a little bit. And that's literally about it. You just have to make sure that the node is touching the water so that it can grow really nice and really allow the root to expand from that extraction of water. I did see some of the rooting hormone float to the top after I put it in the water, so maybe the rooting hormone wasn't such a good idea, but I guess you'd never know until you try. So I went ahead and did that, and yeah, that should be it. Before I go into my outro, I do want to mention that some people actually just stick this little node into soil, so they just stick it right into the potting medium, a really good airy mixture, and then they just let it grow from there. But personally, it's a 50-50 chance for me in my experience of propagating plants by just sticking them into soil. I've had success with my micans, but these guys I don't really want to have a risk factor included because I really do love this species of plant. So starting them off in water and then later transplanting them into your potting medium is the best method in my opinion. So that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate you guys taking your time out of your day to watch me do some plant things. I will be posting updates on these on my Instagram, so I did want to note that I did change my Instagram username from Noah's Plant Art to NoahKDC, so the same username as this YouTube channel. It's just so that I can engage with you guys more and give you guys updates like these propagations, I guess, without the hassle of posting and uploading a whole new video. So definitely check out my Instagram if you do want to see updates on these guys growing. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. This community is slowly but surely growing, but I love having you guys alongside my journey of figuring out how to take care of houseplants and making my way throughout life in general. Also make sure to hit that notification bell just down below right next to the subscribe button to be informed when I do post a new video. And if you have any questions or suggestions or just even want to say hi, just comment them down below in the comment section and I'll make sure to respond to you, even if it's just a greeting. I love interacting with you guys. It makes me feel like I'm not only talking to a camera but an actual community, an actual audience, so it's really nice to have you guys there interacting with me. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to making more videos for you guys. Take care always. Bye.